The Halal Times, the voice of Ummah. Breaking news. A new Nakba begins today, 21st August 2025, before the entire world, which has once again failed the Palestinians, just as it did nearly 75 years ago during the first Nakba. Israel has announced the call-up of 60,000 reservists and the extension of service for another 20,000 soldiers, signaling the launch of a massive new operation aimed at seizing Gaza City. According to the Israeli military, Defense Minister Israel Katz has approved plans to expand operations deep into some of Gaza's most densely populated neighborhoods. The army describes it as a gradual, precise and targeted operation. But the reality on the ground tells a different story. Israeli artillery has already flattened entire rows of homes in eastern Gaza City. In Zeitoun and Jabalia, residents are enduring sleepless nights as drones and warplanes fill the skies, striking not just homes, but also makeshift refugee camps where displaced families have been sheltering. Human rights groups warn that this escalation could plunge Gaza into an even deeper humanitarian catastrophe. With most residents already displaced multiple times and widespread famine looming, the Israeli plan threatens to push hundreds of thousands of Palestinians into so-called concentration zones in the south of the Strip. Starvation deaths are already rising, and now the people of Gaza face the prospect of mass displacement, destruction, and death. A tragedy that Palestinians are calling nothing less than a second Nakba. The timing of this escalation is significant, even as Qatar and Egypt, backed by the United States, push for a new ceasefire framework that includes a 60-day truce, prisoner exchange, and expanded aid access. Israel is doubling down on its military campaign. Qatar has said the truce proposal is almost identical to one Israel had already accepted earlier. Egypt insists that the ball is now in Israel's court. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has so far remained silent, only repeating that any deal must meet Israel's conditions and include the release of all hostages at once. So far, more than 62,000 Palestinians have been executed in this 22-month-long war. Yet today's announcement makes it clear Netanyahu's government is preparing for an even more brutal phase, one that could claim tens of thousands more lives, seize Gaza's largest city, and attempt to end the war through what Palestinians fear will be the complete erasure of their existence in Gaza, a new Nakba. The first Nakba took place in 1948, when over 700,000 Palestinians were violently expelled from their homeland. Back then, the world's common civilians hardly knew what had really happened, and Arab leaders, at least in words, vowed never to recognize Israel. But today that promise lies in ruins. Egypt, Jordan, Bahrain, and others not only recognized Israel but also openly embraced it, backstabbing Palestine in broad daylight. Even Saudi Arabia was on the verge of formal normalization with Israel, plans only disrupted by the eruption of the current war. Yet behind the scenes, the ties between Mohammed bin Salman and Israel are deeper than those of any Arab nation, and even some Western powers. Now in 2025, the contrast with 1948 could not be clearer. This time the whole world knows. Every civilian with a phone can see the devastation. Every international body, the UN, the ICJ, global institutions, watches in silence. For 2 years straight, Israel has waged its war in Gaza with relentless brutality, committing the gravest human rights violations in plain sight. Yet no one intervenes. This betrayal of the Palestinians is even worse than the first Nakba, because the crime is not hidden, and still the world chooses to let them suffer alone. That's all the news updates for today. If you found the video informative, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Jazakum Allahu khairan.